Hey everybody, my name is Josh LaFleur from Late Star Piano. Today I'm going to be telling you exactly how and why you should be practicing the piano if you are an adult and if you are self-taught. So again, this is specifically for people who are adults and they don't have a teacher, they don't take either virtual lessons or lessons in person. How can you go about learning the piano the correct way? I'm going to tell you how you should do that, the best approach for that, and why, all in this one video. So the number one thing that you can do when you are an adult and you are self-taught is you can sit down at the piano and just explore. And there's a reason why I'm leading with this as my first point for being self-taught. I'm not leading with watching YouTube videos. I'm not leading with get a book. I'm not leading with work out some kind of instruction or some kind of manual. Number one thing you can do when you're just starting out as a beginner is just experiment and explore the piano. So, I mean, literally just getting on your piano bench, sitting down, and just trying to come up with something that sounds good to you. And the reason why this is so important and why I'm having it as my number one point in the video is because when you are an adult, you are playing the piano one because you want to. So nobody's forcing you to do it. It's not like you're a kid and your parents are paying for lessons or they're paying for the piano and paying for the books. You're playing the piano because you actually want to play. Nobody's forcing you. Nobody's overhead telling you that you have to do this. So because that's the case, you have the willingness, I hope, to actually sit down and just spend the time with exploring your instrument. Somebody who doesn't want to play the piano from the beginning, they're not going to want to take the time to sit down and mess around. They're going to want to be told what to do. It's like a kid that comes in, they don't really want to play the piano, and the parents need to give them a teacher so that the teacher can say, okay, from the first 5 minutes, we're going to work on this, then we're going to work on this, and then when you go home, you're going to do this. It's kind of like a job. It's like you're clocking for your job for the day, and your boss tells you what you're going to do for the day. They tell you what time you're going to take your lunch, and they tell you what time you can go home, and they tell you what time you come back the next day. When you're an adult learning the piano, it's not like that. It's more like you are a business owner. You're an entrepreneur. You can kind of make up your own time, your own schedule. And because of that, you can put a little bit more time into exploring things for yourself. And what's going to happen as far as the positive results is, number one, you're going to find things that you like and you're going to find things that you don't like. So you're going to figure out the kind of sounds that you want to hear. Number two is when you're exploring, you're going to be thinking. You're going to actually be using your brain. It's not like when you have a teacher or you're working out of a method book, you can kind of turn your brain off and you just follow the instructions on the page, right? You kind of zone off, you just do exactly what you're told, and then when you're done practicing, you get up and leave. When you sit down and you're exploring, you're experimenting, you're actually using your brain because you're going to be noticing, again, what you like, what you don't like. You're going to be noticing patterns as well, which is huge. Playing the piano is a lot about patterns. It's a lot about your hand shape. You can use the same hand shape to play a bunch of different things. And when you're experimenting, you're kind of learning these firsthand. You get to explore, you get to learn, and your brain is much more activated. That mind-muscle connection is much more activated when you just sit down and explore. And if you do this, it doesn't have to be for an hour or 3 hours you have to do this. Just something small, even like the first 5 minutes of your practice session. Sit down and just see what you like. Just explore. See if you can come up with some kind of rhythm, some kind of sound, some kind of melody, maybe some kind of chord progression that you like. That's huge. I can't underestimate that. Just try it for a few days and you're going to notice improvement. You're going to like what you're doing and it's going to make learning the piano a lot more fun. That's point number one. Point number two is what you can also use is the traditional method book. So the big two are Faber, Faber method book, and then the Alfred's method book. I have had experience using the Alfred's All-in-One method book. It has the technique, it walks you through the music theory, and of course it has pieces for you to actually play. That's the Alfred's All-in-One method book, and it teaches you everything. It teaches you the name of the notes if you're brand new. It teaches you how to read sheet music. It can teach you everything from the ground up, okay? And that's going to be point number 2. If you're self-taught, that's probably the next best thing that you can do after just experimenting, just exploring the piano for yourself. That's the second best thing that you can do. Third best thing that you can do once you get the method book is you need to set up your plans and goals. So, okay, now you have the piano, you've done your experimenting, you actually have the method book in front of you. What do you do now? Now is the time to set up your plans and goals, okay? So you want to set up your practice routine, what your schedule is going to be, your frequency that you plan on practicing, and then you need to stick with it. So I would recommend that you do at least 4 days a week, at least 20 minutes per day. That's the absolute bare minimum for you to notice and make legitimate progress month by month, year by year. 4 days a week at a minimum, 20 minutes per day. So if you can at least do that, that's a good place to start. If you can do more, if you can do 5 days a week or 7 days a week, that would be a lot better. But bare minimum, 4 days a week, 20 minutes per day. And within that 20 minutes, if that's what you're working with, you want to hit on 3 different things, okay? You want to hit on your technique / warm-up. You want to hit on the piece that you're working on, and then some kind of music theory. So the Alfred's All-in-One, it can help you with all of these things. You can start off with your warm-up. You can do something like the Alfred's book. You can work on scales, some kind of arpeggio. You can work on some kind of easier piece just to warm up and work on your technique. Then you can jump into learning your piece out of the method book or online. And then you can finish with a little bit of improvisation or something fun, just exploring the piano to end. So those are all really good things that you can use within that 20 minutes. But the point of this one is just to make the schedule. Make the schedule, and then the next point is to actually stick with it. So don't let other things get in the way. Don't let other things win out on your non-negotiable. Make sure that once you set your schedule and you can stick with it, that you actually do. It's another great thing that you're going to need. You're going to have to hold yourself a lot more accountable versus somebody who's paying for a teacher, because you don't have that third party who can help hold you accountable. You have to do it by yourself, which is a little bit tougher if you're on your own, if you don't have a teacher, but you can do it. You just have to make sure you stay consistent and stay disciplined as well. Another thing that you can do when you're just starting off, since we just talked about having a teacher, is you want to get some kind of feedback, okay? So since you don't have a teacher, since you are self-taught, the best thing that you can do is record yourself playing. So just like I have this basically selfie stick that stands up on the ground and records me. You can do this as well, but put it to the side so that you can see yourself playing the piano at an angle. And you can look at your phrasing, you can look at your timing, you can look at your actual position and how you're moving about the piano. You can kind of grade yourself about how you're playing. If you don't have a teacher, this is going to be the next best thing that you can do, because you need some kind of feedback. Chances are you're making mistakes that you don't even know that you're making because you don't have a teacher. And if you don't record yourself, then you are never going to catch those mistakes because you're not going to be able to hear them. You're not going to be able to hear them in the actual moment when you're playing, which is why the recording is so crucial. Okay, so with all that said, those are the best things that you can do to learn piano if you are self-taught. In addition, what else can help you is on my website, www.ladystarpiano.com. I do have a free PDF on my website, 34 essential tips for the brand new adult beginner piano player. It's going to tell you a lot about practice strategies. We're going to be talking about music theory. We're going to be talking about your mindset and approach when it comes to learning the piano. And then at the very end, we will walk you through your first song, note by note. So again, to get this guide, it's on my website, www.ladystarpiano.com. Click on the big bright purple button on that page, enter in your name and email address, and you'll have instant access to that guide. In addition, if you want to make progress even faster and you do want some more accountability and you do want somebody to point out mistakes that you don't know you're making, I am offering lessons right now via Zoom. If you're interested in that, send me an email, ladystarpiano@gmail.com. We'll set up a day and a time that works best for you. With all that said, again, my name is Josh LaFleur with Lady Star Piano. Happy practicing.